All right, it looks like we've just hit 6:30. We're all here so early, so plenty of time to chat. Yes, so we will call this meeting to order. If we could get a roll call?
Hanwer Friedman.
Here.
Harper. Here. Ingram.
Here.
Locke.
Here.
Van der Steernot.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Furtado.
Here.
Chair Loxton.
Here. Thank you. All right, if we can get approval of the agenda and addenda. Anyone want to move?
So moved, Ingram.
Thank you.
Second, Hanauer Friedman.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Approval of the minutes from the January meeting.
So moved, Locke.
Locke and got a second?
Second, Ingram.
Thank you. Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Any public participation for today's meeting? Nope. Seeing none, we will move on to communications. Any board communications to share? No, speeding through. All right, on to new business. So Dana, we'll go to you with the update and discussion of the ILEAS proposed renovation project. I saw we have Jim Page here as well, who's happy to answer any questions if we have any. So
I think they're actually going to talk.
oh, you can speak first. Okay.
We've got Jim Page, former executive director. Just recently, he's coming close to retirement. And then from IGW, we've got Scott Walker. And IGW has been assisting ILEAS with their feasibility study. Jim, that packet, as I mentioned to you before, that feasibility study was handed out and given to each of the committee members. And we set on their desk the economic impact study that you provided late last week.
Yeah, just push the button.
Is that better? Okay. Like Dana said, my name's Jim Page. I've been the executive director of ILEAS when it started in 2004 until December. And now technically I'm the chair of the Illinois Terrorism Task Force, which doesn't mean much to most people, but it's kind of a move up to a certain degree. But I'm here representing ILEAS tonight, and Scott Walker is from IGW Architecture, and we've engaged them to assist us in this project. We've been a lessee of the counties since 2007, I believe. It's been 15 years as far as I'm concerned, and all of us at ILEAS, it's been a great relationship, and we've worked well together. We really enjoy working with your staff, and I wanted to mention, Dana especially has been great to work with. So part of what we've doing for our long-term plan financially is we wanted to kind of improve the facility a little bit. We make some funds off. We're largely grant funded. The rent is paid by federal Homeland Security grant. All the money that we make by charging folks for using the facility has to go back into the facility, and we've been doing that all along. But we've reached the point where we have more folks wanting to use the training center than we have training center to offer them. So we're going through a two-phase process. We've got a feasibility study underway that's phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is really just foundational. We got Scott Bennett earlier in the session, got $3 million put in the state general revenue budget in the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for us to do some work at the training center and do some improvements. And then we're gonna, once the feasibility study is done, we're gonna look at phase 2 with possibly some expansions as we go along, just on site. But recognizing that the facility is yours, Dana and or his staff will be involved every step of the way in discussions with the architects and what it is we're doing. Primarily, this first $3 million is to go to some major projects, asbestos abatement throughout the rest of the building. Because when we originally did it in 2007, we did asbestos abatement in the areas where we have offices and classrooms. The other two wings and the basement, or the other two wings, we didn't do asbestos abatement, and there's no offices in there, but we need to get that done if we're going to start using it more. The parking lot's in really rough shape, so we're going to invest some of this money in rehabbing that parking lot and adding another couple aisles to it to expand it. Because a lot of times we're parking over by the county highway in overflow, and we'd like to, not be in your way over there. And then the rest of it is to do some demolition in the B wing so that we can have skills or scenario-based training. Right now, it's just a bunch of little patient rooms, and we need a larger area that we can use training props when we bring in various types of fire teams or law enforcement teams, emergency management teams that do skill training. One of the things that we do is all the bomb robots throughout the state, they're like $300,000 robots. Once a year, we sponsor a event where they bring their robots. We hire the company that makes all these robots. We hire their technicians to come in, and we break down all the robots. We clean them, replace parts, make sure they're in top working condition. Well, that's not a do it in a carpeted classroom kind of area. So we need a bigger area to do those types of skill training and scenario-based training. And then we're going to do some cleanup in the basement. It was originally the laundry. We had dryers and you had dryers and washers down there. A lot of gas lines, a lot of water lines. We're using it kind of as storage for radios. One of our responsibilities is to provide radio support and radios for large emergencies. We have hundreds and hundreds of radios in the basement down there, and we would like to make sure that that area that we're restoring them is secured and safe, and we don't have water problems and that sort of thing. So those are the three. There's some smaller things we're working on, but those are the three main things: asbestos, the parking lot, cleaning up the basement, and then if there's any HVAC or infrastructure issues that we need to address that the county's identified before we go on to a phase 2 for fundraising for that, we want to get everything up to snuff so that we can expand when that time comes. We did sign a 10-year extension, so we're good out through 2033, right? I think, no, 2032. I see now that I'm at the Terrorism Task Force, which approves ILEAS's budget, I don't see any changes with regard to that coming. So, Scott, is there anything you wanted to add that we were?
No, I think that's a pretty good summary. A big chunk of the money is going into B-Wing because we want to raise the ceiling up there, so we're going to have to replace a lot of the infrastructure.
Which will mean new, upgraded
New piping and
piping, water lines, heating lines that are modern, up to code.
that leak quite often currently.
They
so-
currently leak quite often, so we'd like to get those cleaned up. On this, and I just had Dana throw this local economic impact. Every couple of years we do this study, and I was looking through it before I came in here, and we've spent $7.9 million in leases to the county since we've been there, and I think Dana's spent $1 million on us in the last couple of years, so we really appreciate it, and that's why we wanted to focus this first set of money on not nice to haves, but have to haves. The infrastructure of the building is what we want to focus on first, so that it adds years to the life of it, and that we're good caretakers. We'll see if there's any money after that, but right now we got $3 million. So I'm open to any questions or suggestions or thoughts.
Stan?
Well, from the county standpoint, we're glad you're there. I've only been in there a couple times in that building, but is there the possibility that you would eventually want to add more building space for advanced trainings or anything? I mean,
Yes.
since the old part is condemned.
There's two, right, there's two, exactly. We lost that scenario training space. So there's, in the phase 2, which we're not done planning yet, the primary focus is warehouse, because we're in five bays of your garages right now that we're leasing. What we would like to do is consolidate all that into one facility on that footprint of the building, adjacent to that building. And the other is a larger, more classrooms, so that we can accommodate more training events. We're to the point now where we're full. I mean, you drive by there, the cars are, lots always full. Like right now, we're doing, we host certified nursing assistant training for the Urbana Adult Ed. They use some of the hospital rooms, and they bring in those students that are training there. And so we have a wide range of, it's not just cops. It's pretty much, anybody in the public safety, health-related arena. Karl leases it from us all the time, and other related organizations. But yes, none of it would be off-site of that county highway to Art Bartel Main Street to the access road and back. We would like to consolidate everything in that footprint and get out of your garages in the back, so that you would have the option to do with those as you want to later on.
All right.
Hey, thank you for being here. A couple questions. You mentioned phase 1. Does that mean there's other phases besides this?
Well, the phase 1 is what we're doing with this $3 million. The phase 2 that we're working with IGW now is is there an expansion that we want to do? What does that look like, and how much would that cost? Because I have to, if ILEAS decides with the county that we want to do this, I have to go find the money for that. And we're working on that feasibility study so we can get a cost estimate on what would it cost
Get a budget
to do.
pulled together for that, yeah.
Okay. It looks like Eastland Suites must be the place to go, huh, for ILEAS?
We have, over the years,
Looks like.
spent a lot of money at hotels.
Yeah.
We don't go to Eastland Suites now as much as we used to. New hotels have been built, like Home 2 and some others that now we're using more. But early on in our existence as a training center, we used Eastland Suites a lot because they were $50 a night, and we were limited by federal rules as to how much we could spend on student rooms. And they worked a deal with us, and so they got a lot of our business early on.
Well, just a couple more questions.
Sure.
And more is just so that I could understand it better, just because I like to understand things. But so I read your feasibility study, and it seemed pretty thorough. You're looking at a cost estimate, but I was actually looking for the punchline. I was looking for the conclusion. What was the result of the feasibility study?
It's not done yet.
Okay, so it's still in progress.
The feasibility study is still in progress, but the part of it where we determined this draft on phase 1 is where we determined that's where the $3 million is going.
So it's more like I have $3 million, what can I accomplish with $3 million? Is that,
Well, it kind of went the other way. We did the feasibility study, then I went to
Oh.
Scott Bennett and said, I need $3 million. He got it put in the state budget. And, that's probably the process we'll use for the second phase. We'll have to go find money somewhere because it's currently not in the budget.
so I think it's probably my personality, I just ask
Yeah.
questions. So then, the result of the feasibility study will be, what do you think it will lead you to do what?
Add additional classrooms,
Yeah,
and the warehouse.
yeah,
And tactical training.
Yeah, right, and rehab, because right now we're doing the tactical training, we will be doing it in the B wing. We're going to expand that as part of the classroom wing, and kind of build to the west. There's a courtyard between the building we're in and the old building currently. That's what we're looking at occupying with the warehouse and the additional classrooms.
okay.
But we have to come up, that's still being worked on, we have to come up with that phase. Once we get that feasibility study done, obviously sharing it with Dana, so that you will have access to what that is. Because if the county's not willing to let us go out and search for the money and do this, then I don't want to waste time, you know, to try and raise funds, because that'll probably be, and I'm spitballing here,
5 or 6.
it's probably $6 more million that I don't have.
Yeah. I only have 5, I'm sorry. So
We can scale that back.
We can work with that.
So one more question, if you don't mind. One more question. I had some other questions, but I gave them to Dana, so I'm not going to ask those. So the other question I had, and more is from an understanding standpoint. The county board leases the facility to you, the property, the 10 acres and the other buildings and all that other stuff, which is awesome, right? But I guess the $3 million that you get from the state, how you spend it or how you use it doesn't really matter what the board is. In other words, you would get your AE, your architect, your constructor, it's all within this $3 million X dollars, and the county board doesn't really have any interest or say in that. Is that true? Other than we're safe or something?
You own the property, so.
Yeah, you own the property.
It is certainly our property. There are some standards, obviously, that we'll have to make sure that they're followed. But, you know, this is really a long-term relationship with a great client. You know, a good, valued architect here in Urbana that was also involved when they did the initial project. I don't know if everybody understands that the building that they occupy is the original nursing home for Champaign County. Was built in a multiple of phases. The building that they're occupied was 1973 version. It's got some significant issues that will be addressed with these projects. They've already addressed a number of them. When they came in and cut the first lease deal, they were given a very low number lease for 20 years, roughly, because they were investing $1 million into the property. What that did was allow them to move forward and create what they have, but it also allowed the county not to have to fund that facility that the county was no longer using. So it's really been a terrific relationship that's maintained that building. Now, we're going to have to take down the 2-story portion that was built in the 40s. Because we've lost it. It's full of mold, full of water. It leaks badly. The roof is about to cave in. So that's going to have to come down. That'll be in our capital asset plan, has been, which we hope to present next month. But this has been a terrific relationship and really benefited both parties tremendously.
And if I can add on to that, Dana will be a part of this design construction phase all along, so we're ensured to meet county standards. But at the end of the day, if something happens and ILEAS goes away, or you have another use for the building, it's going to be in better shape than what it is right now.
Oh, yeah.
So it's an investment for the county as well.
Thank you for answering my questions.
Yeah, not a problem. Anybody else?
Stephanie?
This is not really so much a question, it's more of a comment. Just recently, in the last few months, the county has partnered up with the city of Champaign to get their diversity, I don't know what the A stands for, program. Their CDAP list. This is the list that like lists minority, women, owned, disability-owned vendors. And so we now have access to that. So I really appreciated your economic impact study, but I know I've done a lot of grants in my life. So, especially like with the construction and stuff like that, I feel like maybe like through our partnership, we can,
Absolutely.
like help you out with like who are the local firms, like, if the contractor's looking for subs and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So that like, in the future, if you also want to make the case, like we were in the county and we also did this with women-owned businesses and right, that's, I think, it's a resource that we now have access to that we never had access to before. I just want to make sure that,
Absolutely.
we know about it and our partners know about it. But I know enough about state funding that could maybe help you out.
Well, and I appreciate that. I'm glad you made that statement because DCEO, unlike the FEMA federal grants that ILEAS uses, until recently, DEI was not as big an issue. They are now, all the federal grants moving forward are, DCEO has minority, female, veteran-owned rules that we have to follow with this money. So I'm glad you said that, because we will need a resource.
And there, there's possible there's ones on there that we don't know about, but it's a pretty decent list.
Awesome. That'd be good.
All right, anything else? No? Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
being
you
here.
very much.
All right, up next, we have an update on County Plaza renovation project with,
We've got Karla Smalley here from Bailey Edwards, and Austin from Broeren Russo. Austin is on-site guy to go to for Broeren Russo for our project. He'll be there on a day-to-day basis, extremely knowledgeable, and he is tracking everything, so looking forward to it.
Don't know that it's sharing.
there we
Oh,
go.
there we go. Okay, great. It had the green thing on here like it was supposed to be, but, all right, I don't know how to get rid of this. Make this go away. There's no minimize.
I don't know if it does. Maybe.
Dan, are they doing okay in there? We lost a server earlier today that they replaced, so our systems were down for a number of hours, and they've been struggling.
You should be able to throw it up on the.
It's so weird. Because, see, it doesn't have the presentation
Oh.
on it.
It just keeps opening infinite windows, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
It's really weird.
I think this is continuing to happen, so why don't we, sorry about that, folks. We did put some material in the packet. We did put, and I do apologize, a very small, I can't get a bigger one to print out and put it in the agenda. If you were able to look at it online, hopefully you were able to enlarge it to take a look at the timeline of the project. But Austin, you want to talk a little bit about that? And I informed the folks who toured that, what really started, or you started on Monday, although there was kind of an early crew that was in last week that really helped, get the thing moving. But you want to kind of update us?
Yeah, initially right now we're getting our key subs on board. A lot of the first few weeks are critical to identify submittals that, long lead times, try to get ahead of those, get them ordered, get them reviewed with Bailey Edwards, so we can keep the timeline proposed, as you can see on this sheet. And for next meeting, I can hopefully blow this up a little more, a couple more pages for you guys, so it's easier to read. But right now, we're kind of getting everybody on site, getting familiar with the project, getting it safe and secure. Will be video surveillance on site, just the parking lot area there. Fencing's all up. Everybody is kind of picking their place inside the building to set up their workspace, which is nice, having everybody on site every day. Other than that, demo has started late last week, early this week. It's going well. Getting everybody kind of organized and going with the flow. We're going to do the lower level demo to assist the vault removal, and then we'll be jumping up and going 5 down to first floor. So those who toured today, you could kind of see the main areas around the vault are being removed from the building, so we can access the mass construction of concrete that encases that vault and get that out of there. So, but yes, the substantial completion noted here is the end of March. So, yep, there we go. Got some photos up.
So we got some photos. They're a little washed, but just for those who weren't able to join us on site today, Like Austin said, the fence has gone up. Some of the glazing's been removed on the north side so that they can install their chutes, their trash chutes. So that when they start doing demolition on each one of the floors, they have direct access. Some of the shots from the inside. This is the first level. The where you see the orange cones in the background, that's where the safe is, the safe door. So they've removed all the granite from around the safe, and yeah, this evening we could see where they were starting to, cut that access into the safe, and then they'll actually do a lot of the demolition by robot, so they won't be in there doing some of that. Floor protection's gone down on the floors. This is the south entry. Again, first level, some of the demolition that's taken place. Oh, and those are floor plans. You don't want to see those.
But yeah, overall, good first 2 weeks on site. Got a lot of good trade partners, a lot of local crew here, so everyone's very excited about this.
Any questions? Jeff? Yeah.
Just one question. Long lead items, any challenges with them, or what are your long lead items?
As of right now, we know any switch gear from the electrical side, we're seeing anywhere from 35 to 45 weeks. There's some HVAC components that are noted right now of 55 weeks from approval. So the
55 weeks from design approval, then you,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah. So as of right now, those are our biggest items, the RTUs and generator. That information is coming early next week, so we'll have an idea on that. We have workarounds for those if needed, but the RTUs have fortunately improved over the past few months. But some of these other specialty items are not increasing with their lead times, which is just something we're going to have to plan around.
Thanks.
All right, anyone else? No? Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
It looks like Karla, you'll stay up here for the next one, update on the parking deck renovation.
Yeah, again, I think for those of you that were able to join us this evening, you saw that, or maybe didn't see, that Deuce was on site pouring the steps at the west side of the plaza. After that's complete, I think their concrete pouring is done, and they'll install their traffic coating, and then I think there's a handful of bollards that they'll also install this spring. So that should wrap up before June.
All right, any questions on parking deck renovation? No? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking us on the tour earlier,
Yeah.
too.
Thank you.
All right, so now we have update on the satellite jail consolidation.
We've got
with the Reifsteck-
Chris
Yeah.
here with Reifsteck Reid. I'll let you take off. We did have our pre-construction meeting this past Thursday, which we covered a lot of material that is basic and wrote to just starting the project. Here's how, when, how do you submit pay applications, who's got authority, those types of things. So, Chris.
So, yeah, we did have our pre-construction meeting with the contractor. We had Dana and Captain Vogus as well attending. We have received our approval from Department of Corrections to move into the construction phase. And right now we're in the process of, or the contractor's in the process of lining up all the subcontractors, getting them their contracts and getting the submittal process started. Similarly to the other project we were just listening to. They're trying to identify what those long lead items are and getting those submittals put together as soon as they possibly can. Electrical gear, detention frames and hardware, some of the specialty equipment, generator and mechanical equipment. Right now, they don't have a specific list of what all those items are, but they're in the process of identifying all of those. Looks like, I think they're intending to be on site mid-March to start setting up for construction.
The Park District, who we have an arrangement with for the fields, has been contacted. I haven't told Chris this yet, but we reached out to the Park District. But they knew in advance that this was going to be happening at some point into the future. So they've been formally notified that that field will no longer be available in that exact location. Possibly after the project's done, we might be able to find a way to put another field out there for them. But we'll have to wait till after the project's totally done, see the exact location of the geothermal field, and anything else that gets put in for this project. I mean, we know where a lot of the stuff's gonna go, but it's not in yet. So once it gets finalized, we'll have a better understanding.
Stephanie?
Just in future iterations of this on the subs report, can you total out the categories, kind of like the, just so that I don't have to do that math? Just at the bottom, just
Yeah.
total them out.
Yeah, we can
Kind
have
of
them do
like,
that.
they did it on the Russo subs. They totaled them out, and that was nice. So, yeah. Thank you.
I'll relay that to the contractor, have them do that. Why bother doing math when someone else can do it for you, right?
Well, when you have an Excel spreadsheet that you just have to put a sum at the bottom of.
Right, right. So you do enough math.
All right, any other questions? Jeff?
Hey, Chris, thanks for being here.
Sure.
I have to say that is the best meeting minutes I've ever seen from any meeting.
Thank you.
So well done. I mean, it just seems so thorough. It was incredible. So thanks for doing that.
Sure.
Having spent a lot of years in the nuclear industry, the one thing that kind of stuck out to me was, which I'm sure you don't memorize this, but on page 44, it's about clarity of responsibilities. And the question is on the contractors at all times enforce strict discipline and good order among their employees and shall not employ any unfit person. So how do you do that? I know what we do in the nuclear industry, I just don't know what it's like in the real world.
It's not, I'll say that it is a bit subjective.
Okay.
And there are no hard and fast rules that declares someone unfit, but it is the opportunity of the owner and the jail, anyone who finds that anyone is conducting themselves in an unprofessional manner, they can be asked to leave.
Okay. So I just know in the industry that I'm familiar with, and I'm sure it's not this way, here is that there's always these observation programs, you're watching people, you have a problem, you talk to your supervisor takes it HR comes back and says, you know what, here's your 10th warning, maybe you're just not right for this job right now. It's probably not that formal. It's totally informal.
It is.
So my department I work at the School of Labor Ed at the U of I, and so this is kind of one of the things we study, and on construction sites, if the contractor doesn't want you there, you're not there, period. Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's how it works on construction sites, yeah.
The other aspect we've got is the fact that this is a jail where we're housing people. And so anyone who is actually entering the jail, no, not all construction workers will be entering the jail, but we do background checks. We do watch, we do little spot checks. We, meaning the security force, the security. And if they turn over somebody that's been arrested recently for sales of something, you bet they're going to take action, and that employee will be asked to leave. So can't have that in the jail.
Thank you. So just one more request. In the future, on your schedule, can you put a column, because I'm not as good as math as Stephanie is, but on your column on your schedule, where you have actual starts, can you have an actual finished column also? It's probably already there, it's just not showing. I know it's already there, it's just not showing. Pardon? Yeah, I'm sure it probably just got truncated off, but looks like Microsoft Projects or something like that, but that's just helpful.
Sure, that's, I'll relay that to the contractor.
Yeah, I think some of that is that we got 8.5 by 11 sheets, so it probably didn't render as well in our packets here, but
Yeah.
we should be good.
Thanks, Chris.
Any other questions? No? Thank you for being here tonight then, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, and we'll move on to discussion of the Humane Society facility lease.
Okay. I think I included the lease with the Humane Society in there for you, just as something to take a look at. It's basically a land lease. County leased them the property, they built the facility. The last 3 years, they did a major fundraising project to relocate because they found out that the project they wanted to do on-site was cost prohibitive to the funds that they had available. So they found a place out in southwest Champaign that they've been remodeling for the last year and a half, and they hope to be moving in March, April at the latest, from our location. They cannot, without our permission, sublease the property. We run our own animal control division out of a small 2,000-foot metal skin building that would be better served in a larger facility. This is a facility of about 5,000 square feet, roughly 4,000 and some change. This would be a much better facility for animal care, for employees. Our facility, only in the offices, is air conditioned. The cat areas, dog areas are not air conditioned. We have some fans, ceiling fans, swamp fans down below, some garage doors that can be opened to allow air in, but when it's 90 and 98% humidity, the swamp fan doesn't work very well. It's hot for the animals. So we did talk about this with the prior facility committee, and they agreed to kick it into a closer date when the Humane Society would be taking off. I know that our executives had a very preliminary discussion with the executive director, Mary Tiefenbaum, and I think their president. So I wanted to bring to you and kind of get your thoughts, your input. I'm not looking for a vote at this point, but just kind of your thoughts and ideas. We have conducted an assessment of the facility in terms of what it should be, if it goes to sale, what it should be listed at. So we've got a very good idea. I don't want to give that over the mic and on TV tonight, because if the end result is that we choose to try and negotiate, I'd rather be fair for us. So, but anyway, we wanted, both Steve and I wanted to at least bring this to your attention and kind of get your input, thoughts, ideas, yay, nay, nothing, whatever that might be. So with that, we'll turn it back to you to see what your
Okay.
thoughts are.
Stephanie, you had-
So 2 questions. One, what would there be any like renovations that needed to be done? And have you started thinking about what that ballpark is? And 2, what would we do? Have you given any thought what we would do with the old animal control facility?
Yes. Yes to the second part. Initially, no, I don't believe that you'd have to do much to the facility. I don't know what they're taking. What would go out? Are they getting new cages? What are they going to leave? So some of that we'll have to, figure out if we end up going down this road. Eventually, we might have to do some projects, HVAC, but we could do some of that work ourselves. I think the building's in relatively good shape. It's a brick exterior. It's heated. It's air conditioned. The roof doesn't leak. It's very adequate space for our program that the county runs for animal control. So I do think it's a win-win. And regarding the current location, there are countless departments, the sheriff's office, courthouse, take your pick, probation, state's attorney's office, judicial, all clamoring for dry storage space. So this would be a great location, pull out the interior stuff, kind of open it up, and create a, safe storage area for the county's paper that has to be maintained and, relatively easy access.
So, it kind of seems like a no-brainer to me that we should just do this. I guess a capacity question, if we embark on this, I think that'll just mean that almost every single building the county owns is under some sort of construction or moving. Do you got the capacity to take this on along with everything else that you've got going?
Well, again, I don't think that much needs to be done initially to the facility. And yes, we will be busy, but we still have, as in the next part of the discussion, I wanted to share who our workforce is, who they are, how long they've been here. As we've looked around and kind of changed how we're trying to do bidding and inclusion, I wanted you to at least see, who our employees are in terms of custodial and maintenance, so that you have an understanding. I don't know if anybody else does that within the county, but no, I'll certainly share that. It is a priority with us. So I think we do, and we do a lot of things, no question. But we do have the ability to add projects as things, clean up. Our guys aren't going to be working, they have been working at County Plaza doing some things. But that will drop off. We're getting ready, hopefully ready for winter to be over in another month or so. So snow removal will be off, giving us opportunities to do some more things. So yeah, I think we can find ways to do some, minimal things in the facility until it's time to do something a little larger.
more questions on Humane Society? I agree with what you laid out there. I know that especially like the clerk's been clamoring for space for like the election services, and that's like adjacent to that building. It's right there. It would be handy for so many things other than what it's currently being used for. So,
sure. I should also mention that, as County Plaza is put together and opens up, we have space within the courthouse that is going to become unoccupied, and so there is a a gathering of the vultures wanting space. I give that in a cheerful manner. They're not vultures, but yes, they're all looking for space, and have legitimate needs for hosting paper in a proper manner, and so. We also will be looking at what we do with that space. Circuit clerk wants more space. The sheriff wants more space for the officers. And everybody needs it. A number of years ago, the jury holding areas was remodeled and and shrunk considerably so that they could build a proper office for the public defender and an assistant and an administrative assistant. At some point, it'd probably be nice to return that back to the jury waiting room, adding in space that was originally intended, because we're going to have more juries, and they do need the space. But so we've got a lot going on, yes, but.
All right, Mike?
I think one of the departments I didn't hear you rattle off, because I think you were talking mostly about people who are looking for like dry storage for paper or whatever, but is the coroner also at some point looking for more space? Because that was what I was immediately thinking of if we were going to clear out of there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that building currently is not attached to the coroner's office. That could be changed. I mean, it is possible. Again, it's not air conditioned or heated properly, and so you'd have to invest there. But yes, the coroner is looking for additional space because he is, I think through the board's approval, added some officers, although I know he's recently just lost a couple more, and hurting. But yes, he's added more and needs more, decent office space for them. And he also needs file storage, as as well as a lot of people. So,
Stephanie?
Does this committee need to vote on this, or do we just be like, go forth?
I was when I talked with Steve, we just kind of wanted to hear an opinion. So that's why it's not listed as a vote or moving forward to the full board. But what I think I'm getting with nodding heads and thumbs up that it sounds feasible and is a good idea to proceed. So I think taking that, we will have a more direct conversation with the Humane Society to see what we can come up with and then report back. And at that point in time, then
Yeah,
see where we're at.
unless there's any other comments on that, I think that seems to be the way everybody, if I'm reading the room, Stan?
I agree completely with the animal control, and I think Steve told me last month at a meeting he's potentially has a new director for animal control hired. But I don't think we need to take a vote on this until we get Humane Society moved out, see what they take with them, and then see what we got to do. I mean, how much can be transferred from animal control now, or, we don't know those answers, I don't believe, at this time.
All right. So worth investigating, yes. And then as you mentioned before, we have the physical plant workforce.
Yeah,
duties.
again, and I just thought it would be prudent to at least share with you who our people are. We really have some, on the maintenance side, we really have some talent. We've got some young people who have good skills, we have 3 levels of positions, if you will. We have skilled trade, which is our highest level, and those are the really highly skilled folks. Senior maintenance, and then just maintenance. 2 of the maintenance folks are assigned actually to grounds when Mother Nature is allowing the grass to grow, and they take care of the outside. During the winter, they do interior work. They're also on call. We have somebody on call each week of the year. So our 24-hour buildings, if they have a problem, or if our HVA, our automated building automation systems notice a problem, they'll call our pager, and who's ever got that pager responds by coming in and either taking care of one of the 24-hour buildings or whatever equipment has been signaled or notified as non-functioning. So Again, a great group. Our custodians are terrific. They do, they really take care of our facilities. We don't have the best carpet. As you look around here, we have aged carpet. This room is a little bit different. We do carpet cleaning in the building. We've got our own machines. Staff has been trained. We certainly vacuum. We disinfect. We do all the normal stuff plus the COVID activities of spraying with our e-gun sprayers. We've got a number of 12 full-time, 12 custodians. 3 are part-time. They're veterans in their field and possibly retired from another position. But they take care of 3 outlying buildings for us. We've got a half-time person at the courthouse / sheriff's office that works half-time. She was full-time, but she works half her hours at the sheriff's office and half her time at the courthouse. So the courthouse probably has more per square foot in terms of custodians, but it's also got the most foot traffic of any facility that the county has. And it can get dirty in a hurry, especially during the winter. So we throw some man hours at it, but they do a nice job. They're pretty well received by, I think, the staff in most of our buildings. They also do mail. They are responsible for postmarking all of the county's mail, whether that's elections or the assessor's office, whoever. We have our own postage machine, and we do use a service out of Springfield that saves us dollars, so we can postmark it for less. They run it through another machine and target it, and they take it to U.S. mail for us. But we do a lot of varied work. The postage machine was something new to me when I came here 9 years ago. Normally, my old gig, we just take stuff to the post office and have it stamped. But yeah, over here we're a little different. We look for ways to save dollars. That's why it was chosen to do that. So that's smart, good business sense, and we'll continue. So, any questions?
Ellie?
Can you just explain the county highway? Is that actual maintenance of the roads, or what does that person do?
The county highway, interesting building, good question. County highway is made up, the real tall portion of the building is where all the trucks are. And so on the back, actually on the what would be the south side of that is their truck bay. So they have mechanics over there. They park all their big trucks inside for the most part. They've got a few that stay outside. And then they've got the very nice conference room, and then offices for the engineers, their administrative staff. And so, and then it's got 2 locker rooms, guys and gals, and a nice break room for the workers. So our half-time position over there takes care of all of those areas, does not take care of the truck area or the truck bays or wash area, but he does take care of the offices, the meeting room, the 2 public restrooms, the 2 locker rooms, and the break area. So
Jeff?
Just an observation. And thank you for putting this together. It's awesome to hear that. First of all, it's awesome to hear that you are saying such good things about these individuals. I think that's awesome. It's a real testament to your leadership. I had a question about, this is just an observation. So Bob Waggle, 30 years, is he about ready to retire, or is he going to hang in there for another 30?
For a lot of reasons, I retired from the university, but we won't go in today. I retired and was out for a year, and my honey-do list never got any smaller. She kept adding things. I had a great tan, read a lot of books, but I was getting bored. And I'm used to working a lot of hours, so this was a great opportunity for me to do something that was well in my wheelhouse. I took care of facilities and sports with the university for years, so jack of a lot of trades. Learned a lot of things over the years, so this was really a tremendous fit for me. And Deb Busey was awesome and gave me an opportunity to come here and do good things for the people of Champaign County. I mean, there's really a lot of good people over here working, not just, here for a paycheck. They're actually doing good work and doing the right thing.
Yeah, I think Jeff was pointing out too that we've got a
was
gentleman on
actually
there,
talking about
Bob Waggle, who's
was 30
hitting
years.
30 years this
That
year.
was my real, but
Yeah.
thank you for what you said. That's awesome. I was
Yeah.
wondering about, is Bob thinking about, or are we working on maybe someone eventually taking his place? Or how do I delicately say that? I just trying to.
Bob would like to retire, but only at a point in time when he doesn't get penalized for going out the door without 30 years or being old enough. I think the age thing is the problem. He's too young for his age yet.
Oh, good.
So, but he's got a lot of talents. He's really pretty special. Do we have a plan? Yeah, I think so. I think we've attracted a couple of really good, experienced people that we've been bringing along. Chris Smith was actually one of our skilled trades position that I was able to elevate into the building grounds manager, and he's absolutely been terrific. So I think we kind of have a plan in place that if Bob wants to retire and go celebrate, that we will miss him and his abilities, but I don't think we'll fall down very much.
Now it looks like we've got a majority of the list has been here for longer than 5 years at the minimum, so we've got a lot of long-term staff, it looks like.
Yep.
It's good to see. Any other questions on? No? Okay. Thank you, Dana. So I have no other business. Our next meeting is March 7th at 6:30. Nothing to be placed on the consent agenda, so I think we are done at 7:27. Thank you.